Good afternoon to all of you. We are pleased to announce that Professor Sugata Hazra is with us now. He is a renowned professor of coastal zone management and former director of the School of Oceanographic Studies at Jadavpur University. He is also the former dean of the Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies of Jadavpur University. Apart from his research interests, Professor Hazra was a member of the Indian Antarctic Expedition in the year 1996-97. He has been an expert member of the West Bengal State Coastal Zone Management Authority, nominated by Government of India. He has conducted research on the biophysical impact of climate change on the major ecological hotspots in India. He also led several national and international projects on Sundarbans and coastal oceans. He has keen interest in spreading awareness about climate and its changing patterns, and so he has consented to speak to you all, sparing his valuable time. So students, as you can see and understand, that we have an expert on the subject of environment with us, which you all are just beginning to learn about, isn't it? So please be attentive and try to learn and understand what he will share with you and tell you about. You will have an interactive session towards the end. Without spending any more time, I shall be handing over the mic to Professor Hazra. But before that, our students will be felicitating him. I made my mistake. Please give him a warm welcome. Thank you, Rishi. Take a seat, please. So over to you.
Good afternoon, students. So it is not a course on environment, okay? I thought that I will be taking you to the forest for a journey, a field visit. But coming here, I was entangled with the complexities of technologies, Ubuntu and Windows, to understand how it is very difficult to change over. So I'm still in that mindset, but great that I'll be taking you to a virtual trip to Sundarbans. Have you been, any of you been to Sundarbans? My God, a lot of people. Have you seen tiger? Oh my God, in the zoo or in the Sundarbans? In the Sundarbans, my God, you are the luckiest person I have seen. In this, such a young age, you have seen the tiger. Great. All its swords and sticks with it. What is this? A tree. Have you seen this kind of tree? Yes. Where? Sundarbans. Andaman, yeah, true. This is a very common tree of Andaman. You know the name of that tree? This is not Sundar. Never. No? 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 Ogla is this thing, I mean, shark kind of thing. Yes, Andaman, this tree is called Gorjon. It's a strong name, huh? Gorjon is Rhizophora. Rhizophora micronata. So quite a name for a warrior. So are you impressed with this warrior standing in front of the sea and protecting you, Future Foundation, Calcutta, from the fury of cyclones?
Yes.
Don't tell me yes. I was not sure about that. They say they are not even now, but still they are there. But as I have told, as I have mentioned that there are mangroves, no doubt. Any of you know about the difference between mango and mangroves? Huh? You know the difference. What is a mangrove? I thought the future foundation students will be much more confident and loud. Yes, what is mangrove? I didn't know at your age. You don't feel ashamed that you don't know or tell anything. Yes, 1%.
A mangrove is a kind of tree which lifts its roots outside the soil for nutrients and water and oxygen.
A mangrove, we generally call them halophytes. Halophytes means they tolerate salinity. And this is the only tree which can thrive in saline condition. It's definitely tree. No doubt, this is not a shrub or anything. A full-scale tree with roots, barks and leaves and fruits. And fantastic kind of root system. I will be going into the details of that. We are running short of time, so let's go to the next slide, please. Yes, but exactly war. If warriors are there, what is the war going on?
The environment.
In the globe. In the globe.
No, environment.
Environment. There, the war is in the environment. Within the environment, the war. I have just June 2023. This is the situation of the globe, entire world. About the temperature thing. The temperature is highest recorded temperature on earth in the month of June. That is with the average of say 1951 to 1996. That is the mean. That is a zero. With that there is a 2 degree, 1 degree centigrade rise in the temperature, particularly in the northern hemisphere near Greenland, where the ice is melting due to temperature, and Antarctic, that is the south, the high temperature melting the ice, and not only melting the ice, due to the temperature, all the oceans are exhibiting the impact of thermal expansion. You know that if you put give temperature or heat, things expand. So ocean water also expands. Though its expansion coefficient of water is very less. But considering the entire area, 71% of the earth, and 3,700 kilometers of average thickness, if you raise the temperature by 1 degree centigrade, there will be a 70 centimeter rise, close to 1 meter. Without melting of the ice. Then you add the melting of the ice. So, gradually the sea is advancing towards the land. And the coastal areas like the deltas, Mississippi Delta, Mackenzie Delta, Nile Delta, Sundarbans Delta, is gradually being encroached by the sea. So the war is on, the war is in the environment, and the war is like this, that because of the rise of temperature all over the earth, the global warming we call it, or you call it, there, with all the other problems, the sea is advancing. So if we cannot protect ourselves, if you cannot win this war, Calcutta will be underwater at a certain point of time, in certain point of time. Is it a serious war? Is it more serious than the Ukraine-Russia warfare, which can be owned by missiles and other things? Yes. It is much more serious. It is probably the biggest crisis the mankind has ever felt in. Next. So that is the graph of 2022 temperature rise. The blue are the below average temperature, but from 1980 onwards you can see all the reds in the top. And every day is surpassing the other one. That means each year we are having more temperature, unbearable temperature, 48 degrees centigrade in Spain and Italy now. And people don't know heat wave is going on all over the Europe. They never thought about it that this can happen. These are the cold climatic regions. And we are facing that heat and we are accustomed to it. Come on, 41, 42, 45, feeling like 55 with your moisture there. So we are on, we are fit. But they are not ready for it. So they are facing the heat and we are facing the flood. Yesterday also, the huge flooding in Gujarat, in Himachal Pradesh, in Mumbai. And West Bengal, forget about it because every year we have flood. So you have flood here, road closed. You have drought at one hand that you will be facing in the coming August, September, October. Well, the El Nino is brewing in the Pacific now. And with the El Nino effect, we will be facing the shortage of monsoon rain. But this we have created for us. By our way of living, of course, that we want more. We want, if we have one air conditioner, we want 6 air conditioner. If we have one car, we want to have 4 cars. If you can live with small amount of food, you want much more food and you waste it. You pump water and wash your cars with that. We are doing it. We are continuously wasting. We are continuously wasting energy, burning fossil fuels, making more and more greenhouse gases in the atmosphere and producing the global warming. So in this way, we are defeating ourselves in the war. And these mangroves, how they can help us to win this war. Next. So global warming consequences I have just discussed, I will not go into the detail, but with conflict and war and increased water vapor, rising sea level, methane and financial loss, collapse, animal attacks, tsunamis, increased volcanic activity, droughts, less food, water costing more. With that, there is a mention of disease and pandemics. Have you seen any pandemic in your recent time? Which one? COVID-19. This disease is caused by what? Yes, a virus, a bacteria. Virus. Virus. So the virus, how it has attacked us? Do you know this disease is called a zoonotic disease? Zoonosis. Are you familiar with this term? Environment, reading environment is like reading another language. This environment is very close to us. All the trees, rivers, water and everything, animal, plants are all environment, but all the terms are very difficult, okay? Zoonotic disease. A disease which jumps from the animal to human. And why it jumps to us? It could have been there. Bird flu, another virus, it jumped from the forest to human. The bird flu and another disease is a very, quite old disease coming from animals. Plague, bubonic plague, the Black Death, roses kind of thing. Pocket full of poison, we shall show you all for them. That is the kind of poems they wrote at the time of plague. So the diseases are happening because the forests we are cutting down the forest, burning the forest. There is a forest fire which is also releasing these animals come closer to the human being. We are producing a lot of broiler chickens and farms of pigs and cows and everything so that we can have meat, and all the viruses from them are jumping in human. So this is a kind of living, the way of living, a consumerist approach is killing us. So, learning about environment or environmental crisis, you may say, is about learning how to see the linkages between my eating and wasting food to sea level rise. It's like a big storm, isn't it? How do you connect this mesh? That if I do this, this thing will happen. So in these linkages, what is the place of Sundarban that you have already visited, that is in your backyard, and trying to protect you? You even don't know. You know about our army, you know about our fighter jets, you know about our might in how we can defeat our enemies, but we don't know how Sundarban is protecting us every day, every minute, every second from the crisis that we have created for all of us. Next, I think that thing will take some time, that will be showing. We cannot see it from here. Yeah. So there is a Ubuntu and conflict between Ubuntu and Windows. We will take time. This is a poem read by a poetess, Kathy Jennifer, in 2015 Paris summit, which we call the Climate Change Summit. So people of the world decided that they will fight together against this global warming. I just want to show you and share this video of this poetry with you and see how a poet is trying to fight against climate change and global warming. Yes, if you can see it.
Dear Mata Filipino, you are a 7-month-old sunrise of gummy smiles. You are bald as an egg and bald as the Buddha. Your thighs that are thunder, shrieks that are lightning, so excited for bananas, hugs, and our morning walks along.
It's Marshall Island.
Dear Mata Filipino, I want to tell you about that lagoon, that lucid, sleepy lagoon lounging against the sunrise. Men say that one day, that lagoon will devour you. They say it will gnaw at the shoreline, chew at the roots of your breadfruit trees, gulp down rows of your seawalls, and crunch through your island's shattered bones. They say you, your daughter, and your granddaughter too, will wander rootless, with only a passport to call home. Dear Mata Filipino, don't cry. Mommy promises you, no one will come and devour you. No greedy whale of a company sharking through political seas, no backwater bullying of businesses with broken morals, no blindfolded bureaucracies gonna push this mother ocean over the edge. No one's drowning, baby. No one's moving. No one's losing their homeland. No one's gonna become a climate change refugee. Or should I say, no one else. To the Carteret Islanders of Papua New Guinea and to the Taro Islanders of Fiji, I take this moment to apologize to you. We are drawing the line here. Because baby, we are going to fight. Your mommy, daddy, boo, Dima, your country, and your president too, we will all fight. And even though there are those hidden behind platinum titles who like to pretend that we don't exist, that the Marshall Islands, Tuvalu, Kiribati, Maldives, and Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, and floods of Pakistan, Algeria, and Colombia, and hurricanes, tidal waves, and earthquakes didn't exist, still, there are those who see us, hands reaching out, fists raising up, banners unfurling, megaphones booming, and we are canoes blocking coast ships. We are the radiance of solar villages. We are the rich, clean soil of the farmer's past. We are petitions blooming from teenage fingertips. We are families biking, recycling, reusing, engineers dreaming, designing, building, artists painting, dancing, writing. We are spreading the word. And there are thousands out on the street, marching with signs, hand in hand, chanting for change now. They're marching for you, baby. They're marching for us. Because we deserve to do more than just survive. We deserve to thrive. Dear Monte Filipino, your eyes heavy with drowsy weight. So just close those eyes, baby, and sleep in peace. Because we won't let you down. You'll see.
So the war is on, and people are fighting against climate change, fighting against the way that we are living now, and trying to change the world for the environment and with the environment. Because now there is a global double emergency. At one hand, the forest, the human activities are destroying and damaging the ecosystem. We are destroying the forest, we are destroying the ocean with plastics and everything. We are destroying our water resources, we are closing down our ponds, cutting down the trees along Oceanologist and this Joshua Road. Every day you can see the Calcutta has lost its green cover in last 10-15 years. That is the highest amount of loss that we face from the city of Calcutta. So we are destroying the trees and the forest and releasing more CO2 which should have been absorbed by the trees like mangroves, because they have entire extensive root system that other land plants don't have. So they can absorb more carbon and they can clean our air. But we are destroying that. We are making fish ponds, we are making prawn farming in Sundarbans. And then what is happening? This CO2 is getting absorbed in the ocean and making it more acidic and less favorable for even planktons. Forget about the whales and the snails and everything. And there is rapid climate change, which itself we think it is natural, but it is also done by us. So there is a double emergency that we are facing, and loss of wildlife, destroying the forest means destroying the wildlife. And interestingly, when you grow up, you will realize that is destroying the languages and culture. With every percentage of death of forest, you lose one languages. That is very unique relationship. But think that forest dwellers have, say there are 26 tribal groups. All of them have their own languages and culture. You destroy the forest, these tribal people, they become a refugee and they finally assimilated in Jharkhand and West Bengal and everything. They start speaking Bengali or Hindi, and their second and third generation will forget their own languages. Like that, we lose our history, and a man without history is no human being, it is a robot. So, it is a relationship, a linkages. Environmental science is actually knowing the linkages between a single plant to the sea level rise. Next. So the risk of species extinction is looming around us. Already the world has faced 5 major extinction events. Extinction, the death of say 90-95% of the species. Last extinction, the fifth major extinction was in Cretaceous, the death of the dinosaurs and all other species, except for the few rodents which were more evolved. Rodents are mammals. Small group of mammals which survived and they flourished because that time the earth was speciesless, so they conquered every part. And one of that species is human being, only one species. And finally it is close to destroying itself as well as with the world. So that is the looming sixth major extinction we are fighting against it. That human being is capable of destroying themselves. That no other species could have done. Dinosaurs didn't destroy themselves. They have not eaten out each other. Okay. But they needed some external stimulus. But here we don't need. We are creating such a greenhouse emission and not able to restrict the temperature rise or not even greenhouse emission or warming, and fighting war against each other with missiles, tanks and fighter planes and spending much more on that than on education or water. This is a sheer way of doom against which from Rabindranath to Aurobindo as discussed. But who is paying attention? So with 1.5 degree rise, we will lose 4% of the mammals. With 2 degrees centigrade of rise by 2100, we will lose 8% of the mammals. And by 3 degrees centigrade of rise, we will lose 41% of the mammals, which include human beings. Next. So, what we need to do is to conserve whatever forest we have, create more forest, because they actually absorb the atmospheric CO2. We call it, scientists call it carbon sequestration. So carbon sequestration, and then lock it into the tree, the soil and the roots. The Sundarbans soils and the roots of the mangroves have highest amount of carbon sunk in it. If the mangrove islands are eroded, this carbon dioxide is liberated, and that can create a lot of warming. So we have to protect the mangrove from being destroyed or cut down by the greed of human beings. Even you have that sheikh kebabs are generally done in charcoal, and for charcoal mangroves are the most favorite thing. So our way of life has really endangered the entire environment. So climate change increases the risk from the forest fire, invasive pests, which is especially damaging the forest. Next. And now I come to Sundarban from satellite. This is satellite there. You are familiar with it, no? You know this big island? That river, yes, Shabur. That river is Hooghly River, our Kaunga. And that is Shabur. The red spot below is Jombudi, and then it is Bokhali, Pathar Pratima, G-plot like that, and the red one are forest. And this is a question for the very senior students, that why we from satellite, if I take a picture, why the forest appear as red instead of green. Then all the forests are green, isn't it? Why they appear red? From satellite, not in picture. Satellites are not taking picture. These are energy emission. The wavelengths of light reflected by the objects are recorded by the satellites. Actually, the forest reflects the green light, so I see it as a green. The cats don't reflect green light, so I don't see a cat as a green thing. Okay. Either it is black or white or something like that. It either absorbs everything or reflects everything. But forest reflects, the leaves reflect green light in my visual range. But beyond my visual range, they reflect near infrared emission. Near infrared emission is picked up, is 100 times more than the green emission. So satellite sensors, they pick up the infrared, and that is the indicator of the forest or the trees or vegetation, you may say. But we cannot see in our unaided eye. And we have a very narrow range of seeing. But there are a lot of seeing beyond our vision. There are a lot of sounds beyond our audible range, isn't it? The dolphins can hear. Dolphins can create such a supersonic sound. They can call their child with their name. You know, dolphins name their child. They have a signal for that. Each child, the mother can call each one separately with a signal. Fascinating. Yeah, but that is beyond my ear. So there are a lot of things beyond my comprehension or my knowledge. So big things. Dogs can hear subsonic sound. So this is a great mangrove forest. Next. So this is Sundarbans Biosphere Reserve, we call quickly. It is 9630 kilometers square area, and that red line is called Dampier Forest line. That is the limit of the forest at the time of 1830s. And then we have cleared all the mangroves. And now we have 19 administrative blocks, and there is 5 million people living in that forest biosphere area. See, if you have to think of mangroves also, you have to think of these very poor people who are also living in this biosphere reserve. Think about saving mangroves and saving them together. And there are 25 major true mangrove species in our forest. We have only one species of human being. Don't think the Chinese and ourselves are different species. And the number of tigers is 101. 5 million people, 101 tigers. Who to protect? Tigers. Isn't it? Because we have killed, in 30 years we have killed 2,000 tigers at the time of forest clearance. The Britishers were very afraid of tigers, so they brought shikaris from outside so that they can kill the tigers and they can cut down the mangroves and give it for agriculture. It's called Chirosthai Bondobasto, Permanent Settlement Act, and the landlords used to pay them taxes. Mangroves are not paying taxes to the Britishers, isn't it? The colonizers. So they created the system of getting revenue out of this mangrove forest. But even it continued after independence also. And national park was declared in 1984. In 1987 it was identified as a UNESCO World Heritage Site at your backyard. Those people who have not seen it, you better go and see before it vanishes into the sea. And then in 1989 it was designated as a Man and Mangrove Biosphere Reserve, and now in 2019 it is declared as a Ramsar site. So all kinds of national and international protection is given now. Human destruction of mangrove is minimized, but now the fight is coming from the seaside. The encroaching sea is eating out the islands. The human islands, human inhabited islands like Shabor, or the mangrove islands like Bhangatwani, Dalhousie or Bulchel. Next. So the mangroves are basically halophytes, salt-tolerant species, and I have listed 4 types of mangrove. One is a red mangrove, the next one is called black mangrove, the third one is called yellow mangrove, and the fourth one is white mangrove, or this is Erideria fomes, the world famous Sundari tree. You see the flower? And you will realize that big tree like that, it is a rightfully, you can call it a Sundari tree. But the point is, there is a system of arrangement. The red mangroves can thrive entirely in saline water because they have roots from above, the warriors. Okay? The black mangrove can suffer inundation twice a day, 6 hours. Okay? Because they have pneumatophores, breathing roots, fantastic adaptation. To fight against the adverse situation, they can excrete the salt because they have to live within the salt. And then you have the beautiful yellow mangroves, little up. Once a day, inundation, so little higher up. And they don't want inundation regularly. Once in a fortnight inundation will be helpful. Or no inundation also will do. Occasionally, in March or September, 1 or 2 inundation is sufficient. So a series of defense, a natural defense against the rising sea. Because these things can trap sediment, can stabilize the sediments, make the islands grow, make the delta grow. They can absorb heavy metals. They can make the water free. Great. So fascinating. You cannot have better military or warriors than them, particularly in the seafront. Next. And they have fantastic way because how do you propagate? Because like normal tree, if they shade the seeds, it will just go away. Now there is a high velocity streams. So they have viviparous germination. That means their fruits, they germinate. The seeds germinate well, it is in the mother's womb. And they become a full tree with roots and everything. There, that is a long propagules kind of thing. And when it falls, it will just stab the soft sediment and they will just grow as a tree. Fascinating, you must say, adaptation. Man, they can create anything they can face. This is adaptation to a harsh saline environment. Next. And the kind of roots, variety of roots. There is a steel fruit of rhizopora that you have just seen. There is sonaraceous breathing roots, pneumatophores. The snake roots of Giwa, that is Exocaria agalosa. The Xylotropus meconsis, Poshu have peg roots. Even the tigers are afraid of that because it will be vicious for a jump if it falls into it. And the Sundari has a root buttress like the elephant's ear. Okay? And the Kakra or the Buguera, as with the beautiful flower, they have knee roots. From you that up to 110. So I have a small video of Sundarbans to show you. Next. So major functions of mangroves is reduce greenhouse gas and carbon sequestration, and they can protect against UV radiation. They absorb heavy metals, reduce thrust of cyclones. Calcutta is protected by the mangroves from cyclones because they take care of it first. Trap sediment to prevent erosion, support fishes and juvenile other wildlife, maintain ecosystem services, and of course aesthetics and tourism. So these are called ecosystem services in economics. There is a new branch called environmental economics. They do valuation of all ecosystem services. So in their valuation, mangrove forest is coming to the highest valued forest of the world. And in this mangrove, Sundarbans is the largest mangrove patch of the world and the only tiger land of the world. Mangroves with tiger, there is nowhere else. We have ourselves with Bangladesh. Next. So this is a forest of Hetal. Hetal, you know? Phoenix palmadosa. Okay? What is Hentali? Hentali is Hentali. So Hetal was there, and this is a favored forest for tiger. So at some point of time, in Hentali you used to have tigers. And what is Goria? Goria is another mangrove. It's Candelia candle. It's a beautiful mangrove, small tree, and they have very interesting honey. So you know that we are all sitting in mangrove area. At the time of metro rail excavation, lot of Sundari tree in full erect form was found from 20 meters below. Dead, of course, but the remnant forest of Sundari tree through which the metro runs. And this river in front of your school, Talinala, is the Adi Ganga river. Next. Sorry, little distorted. Lot of herons and hamuk hole, that is the lesser adult stocks are there. Next. Next. And of course, crocodiles. And next, deer. You have seen all of that. And next, the tiger. It is Pitkhali forest. I have kept it as a tiger. So, fascinating biodiversity. You can understand in the natural environment, not in zoo. So, this is a must for visit. Next. So, this thing we will again see it in this video. Is it possible? Yes. Idea what? Sundarbans, nature's world. The first part you can just fast forward kind of thing. You have
Sundarbans.
Sir, I think we have watched the movie.
An iconic landscape where fresh water
virtual
meets
trip.
seawater. A place ruled by the rhythms of the shifting tides. A landscape that changes twice a day. And holding this ever-changing world together are the mangroves.
From root you can identify this exocarya there.
This aquatic maze hosts a diversity of specially adapted life.
Water lizard.
From the smallest to the top of the food chain. The Bengal tiger. Found in no other mangrove forest on earth. Humans thrive here as well. Millions depend on the rich resources of the Sundarbans. But these forests are more than just a source of livelihood.
They are also the greatest protectors of this region. The Sundarbans lie in the path of cyclones born in the Bay of Bengal. The frequency of storms has increased with climate change. The most recent cyclone Bulbul
This
was
2019
devastating.
After that we have Amphan and then Yas. The homes are salinized. Homes destroyed.
But things could have been worse. Mangrove forests act as shock absorbers. They protect against wind and waves. Without the Sundarbans, cyclones would reach the city of Kolkata and ravage it. But this protective fortress cannot be taken for granted. In the last 200 years, more than half of the mangrove cover in the Indian Sundarbans has been cleared for cultivation and human settlements, leaving deforested areas exposed to the savage forces of nature. But recently, a more sinister threat has emerged. With global warming, sea levels are rising faster than ever before. The rising water brings with it more salinity, tipping the delicate balance of fresh water and salt water. Mangrove species that cannot survive in extremely saline waters will perish. Scientists predict that large regions could be underwater in just 50 years, driving the last swarm tigers to extinction.
Yeah, and they're taking up the cause for the environmental migration from here, but for a shortage of time, we quickly finish our discourse now and come back to the next. Yes. So as they were discussing, the rate of sea level rise is highest in Sundarban. In India, it is 1.3 and it is 5.2 millimeter per year in Jamnagar. Next. You see, we are losing human habitats. This Shabur Island, Kadambini free primary school in 2017. Now it is no more. Next. And all the sea-facing islands that we have mapped is gradually eroding. The left side, that is the west side, these are the human habitation, and right side, these are the mangrove islands. So all are eroding from the seaward face, and the rate of erosion is 3 to 4 square kilometer per year. Next. This is the situation after Yas cyclone, that people have to take refuge in the top of their hut. Next. And these areas are repeatedly getting inundated, the colored area, red and other, Amphan, Yas, the kind of mapping that we have done in the village level, that how much of Sundarban is at stake or how much are vulnerable. This can be done by you and geographers in course of time. Next. And these are the predictions that this much of area by Climate Central may go underwater by 2050. But then we have to resist it, no? I can't just discuss this. So what is our way? How we can fight? Next. So these are the embankments or polders they have made from the Rani Rashmoni's time, and now they are trying to make concrete embankment or brick pitched embankment is getting overtopped. Next. So these are the concrete embankment. These have been destroyed by the cyclone Amphan. So all these are not solutions. a permanent kind. Then what we can do next? So transforming our relationship with the nature is the answer, that we are not to the environment to loot it, to just exploit it, but we have to give something back. We have to create some favorable situation so that the environment can thrive and protect us. If I just want to make profit out of the environment, Bagda Chingri, out of Sundarban, or as the Britishers thought, agriculture tax, relocate population, because you have to make big embankments with mangroves in front of that, then we will need space. So building environment and protection with environment, we need space and population realignment. Next. So we discussed about barrier reefs from the sea. So far we have tried to protect Sundarban from the earth side, from the land side. We are trying to protect Sundarban now, proposing to protect from the sea side itself. Barrier reefs, oyster reefs. Next. So oysters are there. So these are the areas where we have proposed to make protective reef structure under the sea, so that it can break the waves, break the cyclone. Next. This is the oyster reef already being done in Bangladesh, Kutubdia Island. Next. Or armors for the warriors. These have been tried in Indonesia and other areas. How the mangroves are getting protections from rings. We have tried this in Sundarban, we are trying this. Next. These are terracotta rings we have laid down in the intertidal area, so that the river makes the embankment by themselves by depositing silt into it, and gradually the mangroves come up there. Otherwise the mangrove seeds are not able to stay there. Next. You see that this year we are seeing that the dhani ghash or the mangrove grass, Proterozoa, is coming up in the sheltered part, and all these things have been filled up, and seedlings of mangroves like rays of hope are coming. Next. And there are extensive mangrove regeneration program. Next. And a proposal I am advocating, if you support, you can advocate it, to rejuvenate our dead rivers in the delta, so that the rivers can bring fresh water and sediment to this Sundarban area. So for that, Ishamati, Adiganga and Jamuna, these three rivers will do this good. And we have to spend some money. We have to spend for, say, millions of dollars for that. But then the global effort should support that, because it is a global carbon sink. Next. So I leave here because we don't have time anymore. And only the tiger has two questions for you. You can answer just now, you can just answer after some time. That, would you like to fight global warming? And if yes, how? This is the first question from the tiger. And the second question is, how would you like to join the mangrove warriors in their farm? So these are the two questions I will leave you for ponder over, and come back with written answer or verbal to your teachers, or you can.
Yes, course, sir, we start with you. Kindly keep your questions precise.
Sir, I know this sounds odd, but I myself have the same question that you told that the tiger asked us. So what is it that
You're the tiger.
No, on behalf, like what is it that we can do here, being in school from Kolkata, to directly solve this issue, this global issue, which can be solved by just focusing on Sundarban, which are the carbon sinks? What is it that we can actively do to support this cause?
Primarily you could plant a tree and nurtured, so that it can absorb some amount of carbon. You can adopt trees in your locality, that if somebody wants to cut it, I am going to fight it out. Okay, I will fight out if somebody wants to fill up my ponds in the surrounding area. And I will not waste food or water. I will put off the lights when I go off. And I will not sing while taking bath and forget that water is God. And if you shave, then shave straight, looking at straight, and just shaving it quickly, not that like this. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And don't waste water.
Yes, sir. That is the most fundamental.
Not in the toilet. If I say this is very difficult. Every time you flush 10 liters of fresh water taken up from the energy. Then you tell, okay, am I not going to flush it? No, not.
Just flush once.
Flush once, minimize it. And there are ways that you can put a brick in the, what do you call it? That system. So that less water is flushed. There are flushes which can have small flush and a big flush. So that kind of technology, and there are a lot of grey water recycling things that you grow up and develop for Calcutta. In Bangalore, people are buying water, and so they know how, if they are flushing it, they are wasting it. So there are a lot of ways that how you can regenerate your environment around you, in the school. Which tree can sequester more carbon? Like in the mangroves, sit down. The Heritaria can sequester more carbon. So like that. Any question? Any further?
Yes.
You can fight. You can be a fighter. First, to want to fight is very important. Yeah.
Sir, how do the mangroves help in absorbing heavy metals?
They absorb it from the water. They don't release it. So they die by absorbing, and they give you the heavy metal free water. So we have seen in the Sugata, that is near the standard, the leather complex, that their mangroves are having much more heavy metal, like cadmium, zinc, and chromium. And it is going to mangrove area of Sundarbans, so that is also cleaning it. So they can sequester also, but they die. And they die and they keep it in the soil, so they don't release in the water. That is very important. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, you talked about tigers. So my question is, how is the interaction between tigers and humans being affected due to the climate change?
More people are going, particularly in the time of pandemic, when the return migrants came back, they didn't have any work to do, so they went inside the forest, and we have much more conflict between the man and the animal. But generally tigers don't bite or kill human beings. Do you know how you can recognize differentiate one tiger from other? Stripes, yeah. Like the zebras. You know how to differentiate between the monkeys? They have different hairstyle. Look. Okay.
Sir, is there any other alternative, is there any other tree which has the same properties that of the mangrove?
Yeah, the Amazon rainforest, the Andaman rainforest. Both of these areas were destroyed. But these are the trees, they are having similar potential.
Sir, so what is your name? Is it just a mangrove?
No, this is not mangroves. Rainforests are separate tropical rainforests have a fantastic quality of absorbing carbon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, 1 minute.
Endless should go on, endless question. And this question will go on. When you grow up, you will have more questions. And that is the best part of it. The best part of any science is having more questions than answers. Please.
Sir, in the slides it said that mangroves can absorb ultraviolet rays.
Not absorb. It can protect you from the ultraviolet rays because of the flavonoid. They secrete something that you have in your sunscreen lotion.
Any other questions from this side? Yes.
Sir, you talked about mangroves and especially forests acting like a carbon sink. So how does it actually help?
Well, so carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is a real villain of this global warming because it creates a carbon cover and it doesn't allow radiation from the earth to go back. So gradually we accumulate more temperature because this infrared radiation and we warm up. So what the trees and the mangroves can do better than any other tree is actually they can absorb the carbon by photosynthesis. You know that all the trees do that photosynthesis. So during photosynthesis they absorb carbon, they store the carbon as their food, as carbohydrates and other things in their root, stem and leaves and also in the soil. So that is the way they sequester, catch the carbon, sink it in the soil. That is the way they do. And now the scientists are making experiment of carbon capture and storage to do it artificially. Next.
Yes.
I think they will be definitely late in their class.
We still have a couple of minutes, so we can take, I think, one more question. If anyone is in.
You mentioned that mangrove trees, like they stop cyclones from like directly affecting Kolkata. So, like they can stop the water currents, but how do they like actively stop the overall effect of the
cyclone? True, it is a good question. Actually, cyclones, the air when it moves, if you have forest cover, tall trees, then what it can happen that the wind have a drag in the near the what you call the earth. It picks up gradually, but if you have a barrier there, immediately it will stop, try to have more drag there. So the velocity of the wind crossing over a mangrove or any forest, that case, will be reduced. So that is by increasing the drag of the wind, and after 10 meters, if the cyclone is still there or 15 or 20 meters, then let it go. My houses at its background will be saved. So there will be a zone of mangrove shadow, you may say, the low velocity shadow at the time of cyclone.
Sir, we shall take one last question.
Sure, I don't have any problem. You have a problem.
Sir, what are our career scopes, keeping in mind the activities or things we can do for the mangroves?
Not only for the mangroves, for the green art, all the career activities are open. I mean, for green engineering is a major area that is being developed, the solar and the wind electricity and the tidal electricity from the mangrove forest area where we have scope of generating tidal energy. And also mangroves are very interesting areas for medicine. There is possibility, we have done some experiment with a small mangrove shrub called Hargosa, Acanthus equinopolis. It has anti-cancerous property. So about mangroves, we don't know anything about it, medicinal property. Now even from the sponges, anti-cancer drugs are coming out. So there's a huge scope of developing science and the aesthetics of it. And this root and the tree, you know that Amitabh Ghosh, Hungry Type and the other novels that from the Sundarbans they have written, Gun Element, existence with nature. What Rabindranath said once, that Thako Pratibesi hoye, amader bondhu hoye thako. So how we can develop a relationship rather than thinking it, how we can utilize it for as a resource. It is not a resource. It is just my friend. My friend is a resource in a different way. So newly developing relationship with nature, mangroves can help. And the study of mangrove or study of nature or nature at your backyard. Not that for this study you have to go to USA or England for that. You can do it here. You can develop the local knowledge which is important for the globe. So, think globally, act locally is the lesson of the mangrove. Yes, unending questions. Yes.
Sir, we are running out of time, so...
Yeah, I think so. No, you can ask me later.
You can give your questions to ma'am, ma'am can forward.
Ma'am can forward and
Yes.
I'll go and answer you because I'm a retired person, no problem. I don't have school scattered anymore. Thank God.
So students, I think your next class teachers must be waiting, so we will conclude the session here only. Thank you, sir, for giving us such an enriching session. Really, it was a very enriching session.
And don't forget the questions of the tiger.
Yes. Let us promise to be the warriors, like friendly, a friend with our mangrove warriors, isn't it? That will be the success. We can just start with a sapling, planting a sapling, and that can be the beginning of the real change. So let us promise that to ourselves. All right. With that, let us go find out from the class, from the hall. Quietly, please. Class 8 from the back. Thank you, teachers, for being here with us.